Shabbat Shalom. After going through Hanukkah and seeing so many lights, I really rejoice for this community. And we take very serious about the message of Hanukkah. Not only to be Or Legoyim, light to the world, but at the same time also we are fighting against to assimilate to the values of this world and to be with the values of the Torah. And this has been the message for this time of the year. And now I want to talk to you about this portion, this parasha, Vayigash. And he drew near, or he came close. And what is interesting, now you're going to see the two big pictures of the Messiah, if we want to call it in Judaism. From one side, the Messiah type, Judah, and the Messiah type, Joseph. And both types play a very important in our own traditions, you know. Sometimes I would like to tell the people in general, but to my people too, that the idea of Messianism, or the Messianic idea, is not an idea that it is written in a dogmatic way in the Torah or in the Tanakh. It's an idea that has been related, that has been narrated, has been discovered through the times by our sages. This is not something that happens in 1 second. It's an idea that has been developing. Most of the time, the Messianic idea develops very strongly, almost at the end of the prophets, with Malachi, and then it really has the boiling point, I call it, and the period of the last prophet to the beginning of the common era. In that period of time, that is when the Messianic idea becomes very fruitful, very active. And you have, they call it apocryphal or pseudepigraphas, books, the names of our giants in the faith, people that they were known, and pseudepigraphas, like, for example, the book of the wisdom of Moses, and sorry, the wisdom of Solomon too, you know, the books of Enoch, Baruch, all those pseudepigraphas that they were telling you in a very special way, leading in Sophonias, ideas about the Messiah, and they will write about a person who was going to come to deliver Israel from the situation that we were at that time. And the Messianic idea always is very strong when we are going through difficult times, especially persecution, or we are being annihilated. For example, right now, how Israel is and being totally almost with enemies all over the world. You know, you have the United Nations that they dislike Israel with passion. You know, you have the European nations that they don't want to know anything about Israel, in spite of what they did to the Jewish people. You know, the anti-Semitic feelings are very strong. The growing of this religion called Islamism, you know, that is very, very provocative and very warfare. They like to conquer and destroy, you know. A religion who believe more in death than in life. And you know, the Christian religion was very similar too. They conquer and destroy too. And this idea has been promulgated, has been given away. And many of these religions, they believe that they are the only one true religion. And because they are the only one true religion, if you don't belong to that religion, you are out of the good way of the Creator. You know? Because we emphasize on religion and we don't emphasize on the relationship on the Creator. Then we provoke the world, telling everybody. By the way, in the Christian religion, there is an idea that if you do not believe in their way, you go to hell. You are condemned damnation forever. There is only one way of salvation for them. It's through their doctrines and through their way. Islam is the same. And they don't have any problem to kill you if you don't believe in their way. And we have the history of Christianity later, and we have the history of Islam. And by the way, the Shoah happened and was accepted because the Christendom has in certain way that type of ideas. Many of us, we do not want to accept responsibilities about the religion. But whatever religion you have been, you have part of responsibility. Here, in this parasha, this is what is important to see. Because I call it the parasha that teaching us about reconciliation. Reconciliation needs to start between two sides to reconcile. And what is important in this portion that I want to share with you is that needs to be a true communication. You know, only to give you actually right now what is happening in Israel. The truth of the matter, the only country that wants peace in the Middle East is Israel. That is a fact, even that nobody wants to accept it. The rest of the countries that are around Israel, they have a truce of convenience with some of them, but the really intentions is to destroy Israel, to disappear Israel. And the world is in agreement. Israel has been talking about peace. The others don't want to know anything about peace. Then reconciliation comes because two sides want to make it right. You cannot reconcile with somebody who doesn't want to be reconciled with you. In the Talmud, in the Gemara, the portion of the Talmud, they say that when you want to reconcile with somebody, you need to ask forgiveness 3 times. If the 3 times they turn you down, you are free now. No? You don't need to ask more. But it's not about 3 times. It's about the desire of making right. And what do you mean reconciliation? What is for you the understanding of reconciliation? Reconcile means to accept or to come into an agreement. It means that you are redoing the agreement, that you had some kind of relationship before and you want to renew it, or you want to make it right. Then what do you need to do? You need to go back to the basic. Why was the relationship? Why the relationship was broken off? What happened? And then what you do is you start talking. Many of us, we have a problem. We like to talk, but we don't like to listen. When you talk to someone, I know. Give me a break. If you don't let me finish, how do you know? I already know what you want to tell me. You don't need to tell me. And when you do that, you are determined not to have a reconciliation. It's what in the common language we say, talking at each other and talking to each other. When you talk at each other, you tell the other person what you want, but you don't receive back what the other person wants to tell you. I do family counseling a lot. And especially spouses. My job is to do pre-marriage counseling, but I do a lot of post-marriage counseling. But I say sometimes it's too late. And one of the things that I have discovered over and over again is that they don't want to talk to each other. They do not communicate. Look at Judah at the end. In his encounter, finally, with Joseph. Joseph had given to them certain rules in order that they need to bring back Benjamin, and they brought Benjamin against the will of their father, and first of all, Reuben said, if something happened to Benjamin, I kill my two children, very crazy. But indeed, Judah, more steady, Freddy, what he said, I am responsible for him. He took the responsibility on himself. That already is telling you that he is the leader, de facto. And when he goes, and Joseph, in this case the viceroy, because they didn't know that Joseph was their brother yet, is asking through a trick that Benjamin is going to be his slave. Can you imagine what went through Judah in that moment? I promised my father, and I know that we go back, and my father doesn't see Benjamin, he died in the moment. And I don't want to have that on my conscience. And he said, allow me to talk near to you, into your ear. That is an expression. When you talk to an ear of the person, in other words, please put attention on what I am telling you. Listen to me. And then you're going to have the time to answer me back. But please listen to me. And he gave all the speech. Joseph, in that moment, is recognizing something inside him. Yes, my brothers did wrong. Yes, my brothers were evil, we can say that. Yes, my brothers deserve the worst. But they are showing me now genuine teshuvah. Not only they were defending the son, and like Judah said, the two sons of my father's wife. That is an indication that Judah even is accepting that Jacob only considered his wife Rachel. The other, including their mother, Leah, was the concubine, but that was not his wife. She was the one that he loved. That was a big statement for Jacob. That finally his brothers who were fighting with him were acknowledging that Rachel was the love of Jacob. And because of that, he loved the two children. And one is already disappeared. After that, as being, they don't know what happened. In that moment also, Joseph learned something in this speech. My father doesn't know that I am alive. My father thinks I am dead. And he's able to talk Judah in such a way that look at what is his final statement to Joseph before Joseph couldn't take it anymore. For that reason I gave my word to my father that I am going to be responsible. And if this child cannot return, he will die. And I am responsible for him. Take me instead of him. In other words, what he's saying is, I will be your slave, but letting him free. That was totally dedication. That's when you see reconciliation. There is no any longer a sense of that I am better than you are, or we are better than they are. Totally, they have arrived as a family in unity to love the brother Benjamin and not to despise him. Now, when you talk about Benjamin, the first thing that you think of Benjamin was a child. Joseph, at that time that they are talking, he's 39 years old. Benjamin couldn't be less, no less than 30 years. I mean, he was not a baby. That tells you about also how they, as brothers, they care for each other. But also they care about their father. Finally, Joseph was able to hear Judah, and his reaction was the right one. I cannot any longer despise you. I cannot any longer have a vindictive sense against all of you. All my anger went down. And they were forgiven in the moment. To the point that he's going to tell, when he said, I am your brother, and they almost fell down and they had a heart attack. They couldn't get it from that revelation. And he said, I know what you did, but it's the Creator who is in charge. And because of that, I'm going to be able to save a remnant of you. You know, this community is called Shear Yashuv. The remnant shall return. And here he's saying that remnant is he's going to save. And in every time of history, there is always a remnant of true believers. And the remnant is not about the religion that we have. The remnant is about the people who follow Torah and follow the Creator. And they become light to others. Joseph, doing that, reconciled with his brother. And they make it right to each other. Now, I want to tell you something because we are going to see later on in the next last parasha, Vayigash, because I do not want to sound everything okay, that's a honky-dory. Because of what the brothers did there are consequences. And one of the consequences is that later on, Israel is going to be a slave. Consequences is that all the brothers of Joseph, they are going to die in Egypt. And they are going to stay in Egypt. The only one that's going to go back is Joseph. Midah keneg midah. You throw me out to Egypt, you sold me to Egypt. I come back to the promised land, but you stay in Egypt. He came back. Of course, that his bones, he was the only one that returned. They didn't return the other patriarchs. The picture that the Torah teaches has different faces. And then we need to look at the reconciliation in the family, and this is what I want to talk to you now. How many of us we have broken relationships inside the family? My first question it is, how you trying to make it right? Because sometimes it's pride, pure pride. I won't do anything. I didn't start it. That was not my fault. That was the other's fault. And for that reason, I don't want anything. Until the other doesn't come and ask me forgiveness, I won't make it right. Many of us we say that. What is holding us from making it right? Until the other side doesn't acknowledge what they have done wrong? If you have been injured by others, the first thing that you need to do is to allow the thing to fall in their place, as Joseph did. But one thing is very important. You need to forgive. Doesn't mean that the other side is going to ask you forgiveness. No, you don't need to wait for that. Because doing that, you release yourself. You see, when we hold anger, when we hold that sense of, I need to, vengeance is mine. No, vengeance is mine, says the Lord, no ours. It's the Creator who made the right justice. Midah keneg midah. If you have been done wrong, I can assure you something. Sooner or later, the Creator is going to make it right. It's not up to you to make it right. It's not up to you to look for vengeance. But it will be a satisfaction, a personal satisfaction. No, I want to get even. But if you get even, you are the loser. And that's what happened with Joseph. Joseph could be vindictive and could really hurt his brothers. And he could go and tell his father what they did. And very obvious and through the scripture, we know that he never told his father what his brothers did. And we're going to see in the next parasha that when they were coming back of burying Jacob, they were so scared what it was going to happen now that their father was not there. to them. Then let me ask you this simple question. Are you holding a grudge against somebody? Are you still holding something against somebody who has done wrong to you and you cannot get rid of that? No, you don't know what they did to me the other day. I am not taking away their fault. What I'm saying it is, are you able to let it go and to let the Creator take His justice, divine justice? You're going to see that when you do that, you start taking yourself many things from yourself. Lately I have been dealing with issues about sickness and diseases of many of us. And you will be surprised how many of us sometimes we get sick because we are holding something against somebody. Because we do not realize the relationship between our minds and our bodies. I call it our spiritual being and our physical being. When you are holding something, it starts eating you up from inside out. You know, one of the greatest killers today, they call it the silent killer, is stress. And you can get stress from many, many things. And what is the greatest medicine for stress? Trust in the Lord always. From emunah to bitachon. And I hope that we can learn that lesson at this time, especially in this community. Because sometimes we are misunderstood by many people. Sometimes we are mistreated by others. And sometimes we have been abused by others. I can tell you that in my own. I can tell you that I got sick because of that. Okay? I need to learn from my own mistakes. You see? Your Rabbi tell you that he went through a lot of pain because holding things that can happen to anybody. It's better to let it go, to trust even that we don't see immediately the vengeance of God. We don't see the justice of God in the moment that we wish that could happen immediately. You know, sometimes you cannot desire that comes a thunder or and kill somebody, you know, a lightning. You would like to say, how I wish that this person will be chopped by a lightning. Well, if you desire it, but the most important thing is let it go. When you distantiate from the problem, you gain life again. And I recommend you to all of us to start learning about let it go. Because holding is going to be very destructive. Joseph hold his brothers, hold them, cry with them. And he said, don't blame yourself for what he said. Because maybe God intended for something better. And because of that, Israel survived. And survived, but also became a slave with the time. And the Creator needed to also participate in it. And it's Abraham Avinu in Bereshit chapter 15, 13 and 14, that he is going to tell us that this is what is going to happen to Israel, that they were going to be going to Egypt and they're going to be slaves there. And you know what? Why we needed to become slaves? Because in that way we could understand about freedom. Shabbat Shalom.